Welcome to the Story Lab. I hope you enjoy this story. Let's begin. I glance at my watch, 3:47 p.m. Another late afternoon at the office, buried in spreadsheets and project plans. The gentle hum of my computer is punctuated by the shuffling of papers as I sort through the day's work. My phone buzzes against the polished wood of my desk. Ryan's name flashes on the screen. Hey, Ryan. What's up? I answer, leaning back in my chair. Jack, His voice trails off, hesitant. Look, there's something I need to tell you. It's important. I frown, sitting up straighter. Everything okay? Not really, Ryan says, his tone heavy. I saw Lindsay today. Lindsay? My wife, Lindsay? A knot forms in my stomach. What about her? Ryan lets out a long sigh. She was at the Regal Hotel. Jack, she wasn't alone. The knot in my stomach tightens. What do you mean, not alone? She was with a man. They went in together. Looked pretty cozy. My grip on the phone tightens until my knuckles turn white. You're sure it was her? Positive, Jack. I'm sorry, but I thought you needed to know. I close my eyes, willing myself to stay calm. Thanks for telling me, Ryan. I'll handle it. I end the call and stare at the phone, my mind reeling. Lindsay? Cheating? It can't be true. But Ryan wouldn't lie. Not about this. I stand up abruptly, my chair rolling back and hitting the wall. Without bothering to shut down my computer or grab my jacket, I stride out of the office. Everything all right, Mr. Mitchell? My secretary, Sarah, calls out as I pass. Fine, I mutter, not breaking my stride. I need to take care of something. The elevator seems to crawl, each floor ticking by at an agonizing pace. When I finally reach the parking garage, I all but run to my car. The engine roars to life, and I peel out of the garage, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard it hurts. Lindsay, how could you? The thought pounds in my head with each turn of the wheels. I need to know. I need to see for myself. The Regal Hotel looms before me, its polished exterior a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. I park across the street, my eyes fixed on the entrance. Minutes tick by, each one an eternity. Then, movement catches my eye. Lindsay emerges, her golden hair catching the sunlight. She's laughing, her head thrown back, and next to her, my blood turns to ice. Jason Carter, my former employee, the man I fired for harassing a coworker. I grab my phone, hitting record just as Jason's arm snakes around Lindsay's waist. The betrayal cuts deep, a white-hot knife twisting in my gut. I throw open the car door and stride across the street, fury propelling me forward. Lindsay! I call out, my voice hard as steel. She whirls around, eyes wide. Jack, what are you doing here? Jason takes a step back, his smug expression faltering. Mitchell, this isn't what it looks like. Save it, I spit out. I saw everything. How long has this been going on? Lindsay's shock morphs into something colder, more calculated. Does it matter? It's not like you've been satisfying me. Her words hit me like a physical blow. What? She laughs, but there's no mirth in it. Your small size can't satisfy my needs. I need bigger, and I'll do it again. The rage that's been simmering explodes. Before I know what I'm doing, my fist connects with Jason's jaw. He staggers back, clutching his face. You'll regret this, I growl. I turn to Lindsay, my voice low and dangerous. Don't come home. We're done. Jack, I'm sorry, she starts, but I cut her off. No, you don't get to be sorry not for this. I walk away, leaving them both stunned in the parking lot. It's only when I'm back in my car that I realize my hands are shaking. The drive home is a blur. Lindsay's words echo in my head, each repetition stoking the fire of my anger. By the time I pull into the driveway, a plan is already forming. Inside, I pour myself a scotch and down it in one gulp. The burn in my throat is a welcome distraction from the ache in my chest. I pick up my phone and dial a familiar number. Walter Hayes speaking. Walter, it's Jack Mitchell. I need your help. Jack? What's wrong? I take a deep breath. Lindsay's been cheating. I want a divorce. There's a pause on the other end. I'm sorry to hear that, Jack. Do you have proof? Video of her with another man. and a verbal admission. Good, Walter says, his tone shifting from sympathetic to professional. That'll help. What about your prenup? A grim smile crosses my face. Still in place. Most of my assets should be protected. All right, we'll start the paperwork immediately. But Jack? Yeah. Don't do anything rash. Let the law handle this. I glance at the half-empty bottle of scotch. Don't worry, Walter. I'm not going to do anything illegal. But Lindsay and her new boyfriend? They're going to pay for this. After hanging up, I lean back in my chair, mind racing. Jason Carter. I should have known he'd come back to haunt me. The memory of that day in the office resurfaces. The CCTV footage. Rebecca's tearful report. I'd fired him on the spot, but maybe that wasn't enough. I pull out my laptop and start searching. Jason's current employer, his public records, anything I can use. Lindsay's not forgotten either. I know she's been working on some big hotel project, pouring all her energy into it. Well, we'll see how that works out for her. The scotch is gone by the time I look up again. Outside, the sun has set, casting long shadows across the room. In the growing darkness, I make a vow. They thought they could humiliate me, break me, but they have no idea who they're dealing with. By the time I'm done, they'll wish they'd never betrayed Jack Mitchell. The morning light slants through the blinds as I sit at my desk, staring at the phone. It's been 3 days since I caught Lindsay with Jason, and the anger hasn't subsided. If anything, it's crystallized into something harder, colder. I pick up the phone and dial. Mitchell Industries, how may I direct your call? The receptionist's voice is crisp, professional. Sarah, it's Jack. I need access to the security footage from last year. The Jason Carter incident. There's a pause. Of course, Mr. Mitchell. I'll have IT send it over right away. Is everything all right? I let out a humorless chuckle. No, Sarah, but it will be. An hour later, I'm watching the grainy footage. There's Jason, cornering Rebecca in the break room, his body language aggressive. My jaw clenches as I watch Rebecca's obvious discomfort, the way she tries to push past him. This ends now. I pick up the phone again. Rebecca? It's Jack Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell? Her voice is wary. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. But I wanted to talk to you about Jason Carter. A sharp intake of breath. What about him? I know what he did to you is unforgivable, I say, keeping my voice gentle. And I'm sorry I didn't do more at the time. But now, Rebecca, would you consider pressing charges? Silence stretches between us. Then, I've thought about it. Every day since it happened. But the cost, the publicity. I'll cover your legal fees, I interject. All of them. And I'll testify on your behalf. Another pause. Why now, Mr. Mitchell? I close my eyes, Lindsay's betrayal flashing behind my eyelids. Because it's time Jason faced consequences for his actions. Real consequences. Okay, Rebecca says finally. I'll do it. For myself, and for any other woman he might hurt. Thank you, Rebecca. I'll have my lawyer contact you with the details. As I hang up, a grim satisfaction settles over me. Jason Carter, your days of hurting people are numbered. The courtroom buzzes with tension as I take my seat beside Rebecca. Her hands tremble slightly, but her chin is lifted, eyes forward. Across the aisle, Jason slouches in his chair, a sneer playing at the corners of his mouth. All rise, the bailiff calls out. The Honorable Judge Simmons presiding. As the proceedings begin, I lean over to Rebecca. You've got this, I whisper. Just tell the truth. She nods, squaring her shoulders as she's called to the stand. Her voice wavers at first, but grows stronger as she recounts that day in the break room. Jason's unwanted advances, his refusal to take no for an answer, the fear she felt. Then it's my turn. I walk to the stand, acutely aware of Jason's glare burning into my back. Mr. Mitchell, the prosecutor begins. Can you tell us about the day in question? I nod. I received a call from HR about an incident. When I reviewed the security footage, I saw Mr. Carter's inappropriate behavior towards Ms. Miles. It was clear, it was deliberate, and it was grounds for immediate termination. And did you fire Mr. Carter? Yes, on the spot. Jason's lawyer tries to spin it, of course. Mr. Mitchell, Isn't it true that you have a personal vendetta against my client? I meet his gaze steadily. My only vendetta is against workplace harassment. The footage doesn't lie. When the CCTV video plays, a ripple goes through the courtroom. Jason's smug expression finally cracks. Hours later, we stand for the verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant, Jason Carter, guilty of sexual harassment and assault. Rebecca lets out a shaky breath beside me. It's over, she whispers. But it's not quite over. As we leave the courthouse, cameras flash. Mr. Mitchell, a reporter calls out. Any comment on the verdict? I pause, choosing my words carefully. Today, justice was served. I hope this sends a message that this kind of behavior won't be tolerated, not in my company, not anywhere. The story runs in the evening paper. By morning, Jason's new employer has seen it. By afternoon, he's unemployed. Again. The phone rings twice before he picks up. Harold Green speaking. Harold, it's Jack Mitchell. Got a minute to talk? Jack. Of course. What's on your mind? I pace my office, phone pressed to my ear. I hear you're the main investor in Lindsay's new hotel project. That's right, Harold says, a note of pride in his voice. It's going to be quite something. Your wife has vision, Jack. The words are like a punch to the gut. I swallow hard. Ex-wife, actually. But that's not why I'm calling. Harold, I'm concerned about this project. Concerned? Why? I choose my next words carefully. Lindsay's never run something of this scale before. Without the right expertise, the right connections, I'm worried you might be throwing good money after bad. Silence on the other end. Then, Jack, you know I value your opinion. Are you saying you think this project will fail? I'm saying that without my involvement, it's a big risk. Bigger than you might realize. Harold sighs heavily. I trust you, Jack. You've never steered me wrong. If you're this worried, sleep on it, I advise. But if I were you, I'd start looking for a way to minimize potential losses. The next day, my phone pings with a news alert. Major investor pulls out of Skyline Hotel project. I allow myself a small, satisfied smile. Lindsay's dream, crumbling before her eyes. Just like our marriage. It's almost midnight when my cell phone rings. Lindsay's name flashes on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. You bastard. Her voice hisses through the speaker. I know what you did. This isn't over, Jack. You hear me? This is not over. I delete the message and pour myself a drink. No, Lindsay, I murmur to the empty room. Now it's over. The harsh buzz of the intercom jolts me from my work. Mr. Mitchell, Lindsay is here. She's demanding to see you. I sigh, pinching the bridge of my nose. Send her in, Sarah. The door bursts open, and Lindsay storms in, her face flushed with anger. You snake, she spits. You think I wouldn't figure it out? I lean back in my chair, forcing my voice to remain calm. Hello to you too, Lindsay. What exactly have you figured out? She slams her hands on my desk, leaning forward. Don't play dumb, Jack. The Skyline project. Harold pulling out. That was you, wasn't it? You seem upset, I say, meeting her gaze. Trouble in paradise? Cut the crap. Lindsay's voice rises. You sabotaged me. Admit it. I stand slowly, planting my hands on the desk to mirror her stance. Fine. You want honesty? Yes, I talked to Harold. I told him investing in your project was a bad idea. Her eyes widen, a mix of shock and rage. How dare you? That project was my dream. And sleeping with Jason was what? A nightmare? I shoot back. You made your choices, Lindsay. Now you're facing the consequences. She recoils as if slapped. So this is revenge? Destroying everything I've worked for because I hurt your fragile male ego? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. My ego? You broke our vows, Lindsay. You threw away our marriage for a quick thrill with a known harasser. Did you think I'd just roll over and take it? I said I was sorry, she cries, a hint of desperation creeping into her voice. Sorry doesn't cut it, I say, my tone hard. Not for this. I reach into my desk drawer and pull out a thick envelope. You know what this is? Lindsay stares at it, her face paling. Jack, no. Divorce papers, I confirm, sliding them across the desk. Already signed by me. Your turn. You can't do this, she whispers. I can, and I am. I tap the envelope. Remember our prenup? Most of the assets stay with me, including this company, which you just try to storm into and threaten. Lindsay sinks into a chair, the fight draining out of her. I'll have nothing. You'll have exactly what you earned, I correct her, which, given your recent behavior, isn't much. She looks up at me, tears welling in her eyes. I made a mistake, Jack. One mistake. Does that erase everything we had? For a moment, I waver. Then I remember her cruel words in the hotel parking lot, the images of her with Jason. My resolve hardens. Sign the papers, Lindsay. It's over. With a shaking hand, she takes the pen I offer. Each stroke of her signature feels like the closing of a chapter, the severing of a tie I once thought unbreakable. I'll have Walter file these today, I say as she pushes the envelope back towards me. You'll be hearing from him about vacating the house. Lindsay stands, her shoulders slumped in defeat. At the door, she pauses. I hope this makes you happy, Jack. I shake my head. This isn't about happiness. It's about respect. Something you should have thought about before you threw ours away. After she leaves, I sink back into my chair, emotionally drained. I pick up the phone. Walter? It's done. She signed. Yeah, I'm sure. No, I don't regret it. Just get it filed, okay? I hang up and stare out the window at the city skyline. Somewhere out there, Jason is probably licking his wounds, his reputation in tatters. And Lindsay? Well, she's about to learn what life is like without the security blanket of my success. It should feel like victory. Instead, there's just a hollow ache where my heart used to be. All rise. Court is now in session, the Honorable Judge Erica Lawson presiding. I stand, adjusting my tie. Beside me, Walter gives a reassuring nod. Across the aisle, Lindsay sits with her lawyer, a budget version of Walter if ever I saw one. She doesn't meet my eyes. In the matter of Mitchell versus Mitchell, Judge Lawson begins, I've reviewed the terms of your divorce agreement, including the prenuptial contract. Mr. Hayes, Mrs. Rothman, do your clients understand and agree to these terms? We do, Your Honor, Walter and Lindsay's lawyer chorus. Judge Lawson's gaze sweeps over Lindsay and me. Very well. Given the presence of a valid prenuptial agreement and no contest from either party, I hereby grant the petition for divorce. Mr. Mitchell will retain primary assets as outlined in the prenup, with Mrs. Mitchell receiving the agreed-upon settlement. Are there any objections? Silence fills the courtroom. I glance at Lindsay, but her eyes are fixed on the floor. Then, by the power vested in me by the state, I declare this marriage dissolved. Court adjourned. The gavel's sharp crack echoes through the room. Just like that, 15 years of marriage, erased. Outside the courtroom, Walter claps me on the shoulder. Congratulations, Jack. You're a free man. Yeah, I murmur. Free. He must hear something in my voice because his tone softens. I know it doesn't feel great now, but you did the right thing. She betrayed you, Jack. You deserve better. I nod, not quite trusting myself to speak. As we head for the exit, a familiar voice calls out. Jack, wait up. I turn to see Ryan jogging towards us. Ryan, what are you doing here? He shrugs, a little sheepish. Moral support. Figured you could use a friendly face. How'd it go in there? It's done, I say simply. Ryan studies me for a moment. You okay? Am I? I take a deep breath. I will be. Thanks for coming, man. It means a lot. That's what friends are for, Ryan says. Come on, let me buy you a drink. Not to celebrate, just to acknowledge. An hour later, we're settled in a quiet corner of O'Malley's, nursing beers. The familiar sounds of the bar. Clinking glasses, murmured conversations, the occasional burst of laughter. Wash over me, grounding me. So, Ryan says finally, what now? I take a long pull of my beer before answering. Now? I focus on what I can control. The business. Maybe expand into some new markets. Ryan nods. Throwing yourself into work. Classic Jack Mitchell move. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's not, He assures me. Just don't forget to live a little too, okay? You're not chained to a cheater anymore. The world's full of possibilities. I manage a small smile. One step at a time, Ryan. For now, I just need to remember who I am without her. I can't tell you who you are, Ryan says, his voice firm. You're Jack fucking Mitchell. The guy who built a company from the ground up. The friend who'd give you the shirt off his back. The man who stood up for what's right, even when it hurt. Lindsay didn't make you great, Jack. You did that all on your own. His words hit me like a shot of whiskey, burning and bracing. Thanks, Ryan. I needed to hear that. We clink bottles in a silent toast. As I look around the bar, at the people living their lives, laughing, loving, I feel something stir in my chest. Not happiness, not yet, but possibility. A future unwritten, mine to shape. You're right, I say, straightening in my seat. It's time to start living again. The wounds aren't fully healed. Some nights, the betrayal still stings. But as I step out into the cool evening air, I know this. I am more than the man Lindsay cheated on. More than the revenge I enacted. I am resilience. And I am ready to begin again. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.